Hello. Today what I want to do is go over survival cards, gimmick or not. As many of you know, I've had a Wayne Russell signature card with Grim Survival for a couple years now. I myself am very happy that it is placed in many hands, many wallets, and many packs. Is it a gimmick? Well, I carry two myself, and I'm just going to show you how useful it can be for myself. You decide if it's a gimmick or not. This is the Wayne Russell signature card. Now, a little history about the making of this. I was sent two cards to see what my thoughts were. The quality, how useful it is, and so on. Well, I've done a couple videos of those, and I was impressed by the quality and that they work. I talked to Grim Workshop and designed the Wayne Russell signature card because of the quality, and it's actually a piece of gear that works for me. So let's go over what's on this card. So you have a knife that I modified mine a little bit. I made it more like a scalpel. I have an edge like this. It has a fine edge, but these are machine cut. So if you looked in by microscope, the edge would be basically like this. You'd have a sharp edge here and you have a sharp edge here. Well, I've taken a file and now mine's like this, like a scalpel. It works great. Here is a fish or frog spear tip that I can use. Now myself, I have not used it because I'm not allowed, permitted to spear frogs or fish in my area, but if I need to, I have it. I wanted that in this card because as a survival card or tool, I wanted something that I could spear fish and frogs. These right here are trap triggers and lures, both in one. Now, also, many hooks. I wanted some long shank as well as short shank and a couple needles as well. Needles are great for repairing gear and making holes as an awl and so on. So what I mostly use my card for is fishing, and the knife is great for opening a box. It's great for cutting cordage. It's great for making feather sticks even. It's just another knife that if I'm not carrying my belt knife or a pocket knife, I have a knife that I can use. What I love about these cards is I have a pocket fishing kit with me at all times for my small little streams. So I use the lures or trap triggers plus a hook. As you see here, I've actually lost both my long shank hooks. I have a couple more. That's why I carry two cards, just so I have extra hooks. I have caught a lot of fish using this card. Got a 5-inch brook trout right there. Time to get him back in. In my wallet, I also carry this here. This is a Grim Survival card for cordage. Now I have made my own out of a credit card and used that for years. But this here is 60 feet of 40-pound test braided fishing line. Now I can use it for lashing, I can use it for snares, and what I use it for is fishing. So I have caught a lot of fish using this right here, and it's in my wallet. Now, as you notice, the knife is missing on my card because it's right there. I've lashed it onto a stick, makes it far more useful. It's not as hard on the hand trying to push that little piece of metal through, but you can see how nice that curves. I can gut a trout, I can skin a rabbit, I can actually take out a big chunk as well, or I can do nice fine carving as well with this blade. So, is this blade a gimmick? Works for me. Make up your own mind. So I've got this wrapped with some bank line here, and I'm going to show you how I did this. So we're going to take this off. And I want to show you this knife and why I designed it the way it is. You can see how that's put on like that. I'm going to take that out. Split piece of wood. I made it basically the width so I can put through these holes. I also wanted large holes so I could fit a piece of bank line or a thicker twine to lash this. Now I just split that, slipped it in. I'll put that over top like that, pull it tight and start wrapping. Makes for a secure lashing. But this knife has come in very handy. So there's the card there. I'm going to take one of these hooks out. What I love about this card as well is you can put your tools back in when you're done. They stick right there. If this gets dirty, you can just wash it off. They stick again. So I'm going to take a lure here and a hook. And how I set this up, I've got one little loop in the end of my line right here. Right there. I'm just going to squeeze that flat. Put it through one hole. Put it through the other. So basically what I have is I have it like this. Now what I can do is just put it through one more time, and that kind of holds it into place. So I can adjust that to how far I want it from my hook. Now to put the hook on. Now what I'll do is I'll just put my line through, and where I have a loop, all I have to do is pull that through like this. Open that loop up. Like this. And put my hook through and pull tight. Now I'm set up for fishing. Everything's back in the cart again. And now I'm going to show you how to set up a snare trap using these trap sets. So what I have here is my trap set there on a piece of bank line for a snare. Now this is going to be set up for, say, the weight of a rabbit or the size of a rabbit. And got my snare here. You want that basically the size of your fist. You want the snare. And I've got that tied to my trap set. Now I have this extra and stuff. This is just for demo. that would be trimmed off and so on. And I also have another piece here and a long piece. I'm going to show you how I'm going to set this up. So what I have is I have one piece of line here with the loop that I tied in one end. That allows me to be able to tie this to a stake that I drove in the ground or tie directly to this tree. That is going to be my anchor point. I also have 20 feet here that I can, I have way more than I need, but it's always better to have more, and I'll only use a little bit of it. That is going to be attached to my other hole in my trap trigger. So I'm going to find the end of the 20-foot one, and I'm just putting a half hitch in this with a bite just so I can get it out easy, because this is only a demo. Right there like that. And now this will not fit around the tree, so I have found a root that goes over top, and I'm going to anchor it to that spot instead. Right like that, and now I have my anchor point. So how this works is I have my top line, I have my snare on this end, and I have my anchor point. I take and I put the slit in my anchor point, and then this goes up and around a branch above. This is my snare that I would set up. So you could set this line here, the top side, to a spring pole, but I like having a weighted snare that when that's tripped, that falls down. That has enough weight to bring the front end of the animal off the ground so they're unable to bite through the snare. Or it allows, if you have enough weight, to bring them right up into a tree if you want to put it that high. But I'm only putting it around this side here. So what I'm going to do is just take this, put it on there, bring this down, and set it. And now I know where this has to be to where to tie it to. So I would bring this up like this. We're just going to tie it off quickly like that. You can adjust that and such. The rabbit, you would have your snare over here. When the rabbit comes, it pulls, it goes down, and as you see, it's held up into the air. So with this little piece, you have a fishing lure and a trap set. That's what I wanted to have in this kit, so it's multi-purpose. Something that simple, and it has two. So the needles right there, I can use that fishing line also as sewing thread to repair kits and so on. That is the fish or frog spear, and this is super sharp. Now I'm going to put this in and show you how you would secure this into a shaft to make that frog spear. I'm going to prepare it and such and get right down to the tying part and then show you that. So I have cut myself a piece here that is about 4 feet long. You can cut this any length you wanted. It's what I had. It's dead. So this here, the end, is about 3/4 of an inch. And if you look at it, when I do this, I can see right through those holes. So very important for my lashing. Now I could also just stick it down into a bigger one and lash around. This here, being a little smaller, may be better for securing this spear into this piece of wood. So now I've just got to split it and then we're going to start lashing that in. And I'm going to leave it to right about here, so I have plenty of the tine still sticking out. So I have split my stick, and I've halved my cordage. I've got roughly 3 feet of cordage here, and the 2 bottom eyelets or eyes, I'm just going to put that through like this, so then I have a loop. Now I'm going to put that down through, just keep sliding it down like that, so I have a pretty good bite, and now I can pull that tight and start wrapping it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this, you see there's a couple indents on the bottom here and right up here. So I'm going to wrap that down here first. Now you have to take care, of course, because these are sharp. Right there like that. And I'm going to keep just wrapping really tight. Going up through, holding those like that. And then what I'm going to do is go through that hole right there with this here, like that. Then I'll put the other one through the other hole right there. I'll pull those really tight. And I'm going to tie that now in really tight right there, and then I can just keep wrapping down and then tie a little bit underneath as well. So I'm just going to keep holding that nice and tight and trying to find spots that it locks into place into the cordage. Like that. Sometimes it's hard to get it there. Now we're down below. Now I can just tie this off down below, wrap it a couple times. That just stops it from splitting. Pull it nice and tight. Then I can tie it off. Right like that there. So now that is very, very secure. That's not going anywhere. So that would be your fish spear or frog. So, are these cards gimmicks? Myself, I use it mainly as a fishing piece of gear. It's very handy being in my wallet with some fishing line. I can stop at streams and just find bait. I'm able to fish. Very handy for me. Using the knife as well has been very handy. The frog gig, I have not tried, not allowed. The trapping is primitive trapping. I'm not allowed, though I practice primitive traps. But the hooks, the needle, and everything I can use, and I have. Now I'm going to put a link where you can check this card out on Grim Workshop. And as well, I'm going to be putting a few links to some videos where I have proven that this card works great for me. Make up your own mind. Thanks for watching. Take care. All the best.